What's up, everybody, and welcome to Growing Up Gaming, your weekly podcast where we meet a new person of the internet to discuss their childhood with gaming and how it inspired their lives today. My name is Mitch Power. Again, thank you guys so much for returning each and every week. Hopefully you've hit subscribe on iTunes or Google Play, left us a review, followed us on Twitter. If you have, thank you so much for returning. This week we have our guest. His name is Rob Tisdale. I met this man on the, couldn't tell if it was the Kind of Funny or Comedy Button or Podcast Unlocked group. He's actually a member of all three, and so am I. So he's on the show today to tell us his story. If you guys ever want to be on the show, go ahead and send me a tweet at GUG Podcast on Twitter, or you can go ahead and send me a tweet personally at MitchPower1116 on Twitter. I do apologize this week for any audio issues. There were some connection issues with me and Rob over Skype, so if there are any sort of pauses or delays or audio issues, I do apologize. I tried to clean it up as best I could. But without further ado, let's get things started with Rob Tisdale. Do you remember what got you initially started in gaming? Do you remember where you first got introduced, if you got introduced at a buddy's house or anything?
Probably the arcades back in the 80s, like probably actually one of those tabletop things in Steak and Ale.
Oh, yeah.
You remember those?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
like they had Galaga, Miss Pac-Man.
Yeah.
And they have the nice glass top. You can put your drink on it.
Absolutely.
That's probably where I started.
You had the two players and everything. I remember them being in like pizza places and stuff. That's what I remember. Like there was this one pizza place that would have one of those, and yeah, it had like 3 or 4 different games, but you were looking down at it like it was just like a table and everything. So yeah, I remember those. How old were you when you started?
It was probably 7 or 8.
Yeah. Did you ever, so you started out with that and everything, did you ever get and eventually like get any home consoles or anything like that? Did you ever have any brothers or sisters that were into it as well?
Yeah. My friend had an NES and I played Mario on it and just fell in love with it. And I ended up getting one like that Christmas or something, and I had Mario, and like that was like the most awesome. Like Mario back then was just like, it was just like the newest, coolest, like the graphics were amazing and like the music and everything was just, and the platforming was really awesome, and there were all those secret tunnels, like you go to the secret warp zones, and like as a kid it's like, oh wow, look, you're like breaking the game almost, going into this secret place, and like, so
yeah,
I go over to my friend Mike's house and we'd play that like all night and get yelled at by his mean dad.
Yeah, I remember the NES, because I mean everybody of course had Mario and everything when they first got started, so I mean that was always fun, but it was always the secret stuff too, you know what I mean, like, you know, finding the 1-up like in level 1-1 when you just randomly jump and you hit that 1-up at just the random block and you're like, oh, I guess this is in the game, you know what I mean, just the random type of stuff, so that's always fun. Did you have any siblings, brothers or sisters that were into it as well?
No, I was an only child, just had half brothers, but they didn't live with me, so.
Well, at least you were your parents pretty good about like,
the kids.
Because it's funny because like everybody, if you had brothers and sisters, you always had to share and stuff, but if you're an only child, at least you had, you know, kind of free reins to do as much as you wanted and everything when it came to the games.
Yeah, it was free reign. I just played a lot by myself in my room, and I'd listen to like Def Leppard or Guns N' Roses and play Metroid on the NES.
Dude, that's awesome.
Or Ninja Gaiden. That was the days. Those were the days.
Did your parents ever play with you, or were they kind of just like they were just like, that's kid stuff?
No. They don't like technology. They hate, especially my dad. He's against cell phones and yeah, everything. He's old. He's 81, so
yeah, I can
just
imagine.
Like really weird. He thinks I'm like a prodigy because I know how to use a computer and work an iPhone.
Right,
so
exactly.
That's where he's at.
Because that's all newfangled stuff, right? You're
like if
you're
you
a
gave
wizard.
him a video game controller, he would just like try to eat it or something. He wouldn't know.
Yeah, like that's always good. Well, I mean, at least they were cool about getting you a game console and stuff like that. You know, they weren't like against technology to the point where they were like forcing things on you or anything. You know what I mean?
Right. That is cool. Yeah.
Because some parents out there are like, my kid's not playing games. He's going to learn how to take apart a car with blindfolded, you know, and all that kind of shit. So at least they were cool enough to be like, no, he enjoys it, and at least they were cool enough to get you your own console and stuff.
I remember neither my mom and I didn't know how to hook it up, and we had to call an older friend over to hook the NES to the TV. It was really easy, but you just didn't know how to do it. It was just kind of a weird thing. They had that adapter thing, it had two little prongs on it, and then you put the prongs on and screwed it to the TV.
Yeah,
so weird.
Especially if you had one of the older TVs that did not have the coax cable.
It was like caveman stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
ridiculous.
It's also too. I mean, it's funny because look how far we've come as far as technology goes in even 40 years. 40 years ago, TVs were, humongous. They had the two screws, and it was just so basic. And now 40 years later, things are so much better.
You got the signal through the air, radio waves, UHF waves or something, and it came into the antennas and went into the TV. How did that even work?
Yeah,
Seems
exactly.
Like magic or something.
It sucks too because it's funny because I've heard people talk about, man, I'd go back in time and tell people about if they could time travel, I'd go back in time and tell people about iPhones, and then they'd say, cool, make one. I don't know how to fucking make them. Who knows how to make an iPhone? You know what I mean? It's you could tell people all this cool shit. We need to
find a scientist right now and we have apps. They're little squares and you put them on a touch screen. Now make a touch screen.
Exactly.
And the scientist would be like, we can't do that.
I don't know what you're talking about. Exactly. Unless I was really smart and knew how to do any of that shit, I wouldn't know anything. It's if you're on a deserted island, how long before you could send me an email? You wouldn't be able to.
Only a million years, and I'll have a computer ready.
Yeah, it'll be a computer ran on coconuts and palm trees because I don't know how the fuck any of that stuff works, right? So
it'll send an email. It'll send an email.
It'll send an email. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Figure out how the internet works. So then, eventually, did you just kind of continue on the Nintendo route and everything? Did you just kind of go eventually to Super Nintendo, or did you jump on the Genesis train, or what did you end up doing?
I did jump on the Genesis train. But I remember jumping on before, I feel like it was before the SNES came out. And somehow I missed the whole SNES era. I went from I got Genesis and then TurboGrafx, and then I stopped playing games until the GameCube.
Oh wow, yeah. So you missed basically 64. PS1.
Well, no, actually, no, that's not right. I did have a 64. No, I did have a 64. I only got Mario 64 on it, and then I got one later, years later, and got Excite Bike, and that's all I ever had on 64.
Yeah, I went through a phase like that
so
too.
I skipped the whole I actually just played Super Metroid for the first time 2 years ago.
Oh wow. That's awesome. I mean, at least that's the cool thing is that if you did miss kind of a generation, or if you missed a whole console life cycle going back, especially when they have stuff NES Classic and SNES Classic that are coming out and stuff. I mean, at least it's cool for you to go back and oh, I heard these are cool. Let me go back and check these games out 20 years later or whatever. Yeah, it'd be cool if Virtual Console got put on the Switch and everything like that. I mean, what they'll do is they'll wait for them to stop making their own portable console or their own small consoles so they can get as much money out of people there first. Then they'll be like, oh, by the way, here's this. I can't remember who, it had to be IGN, had a discussion about, SNES Classic and NES Classic, them just selling, instead of selling the console for $60 or $80 or whatever the cost is, just sell a game cart for Switch for $80 that had all those games on there, and how quickly that would sell.
Oh yeah, that would sell.
That would be.
But they're supposed to be. Oh yeah, that'd be a great idea. But what they're supposed to be doing is putting the games on the subscription service somehow, but nobody knows how that works yet.
I don't even think Nintendo knows how that works.
And
yet.
no one knows when they're... Yeah. And no one knows when it's coming out, so...
Yeah, I mean, the last thing I think of, though, when I think of good online, stable online services is Nintendo. So, I mean, hopefully they turn that around because it's only 2017. You know, we can do a ton of shit online, but, you know, God forbid you talk during a Mario Kart game. You know, apparently Nintendo doesn't like that too much.
Yeah, no, they don't want people swearing online because they're very kid-friendly and that would hurt kids' feelings, or I don't know what they're thinking, but they do not want you... They don't want to have, like, a public chat for some reason. Maybe it's an Asian thing. Whatever it is, they're way behind. They're just behind Xbox and PS4, like, and they don't care, though. Like, as much.
They don't, except for when people are going to get their console and then go, why doesn't this have X, Y, and Z? When, like, dude, I've been able to party chat on an Xbox 360 10 years ago. Like, why am I not able to do this on a Switch yet? Like, I bet eventually somebody will care, but no, I just, I played Mario Kart 8 online on Switch, and it was fine. It didn't lag or anything, but I was, like, trying to do the voice stuff, and I'm just like, I'm just going to join a Discord or get on Xbox chat and talk with people because, like, I can't even...
You tried with the phone setup? You tried to do the chat?
No, I'm not doing that. I refuse to. Like,
No.
No, that's awful. Like, when I saw that diagram...
Even if, like, you wanted to, how could you convince, like, 3 other people to do that as well? You'd have to, like, go to their house and set it up for them. Like, who's going to do that? Like, how are you going to have a party that's like commits to like setting up that complicated chat?
It's just way
on
easier.
Your cell phone.
It's just way easier to get just to turn on an Xbox or a PC or an app on your phone and just do that. Like, that's what I did back in the Wii U days when Mario Kart was out for that. Like, I just jumped on an Xbox chat. I was like, dude, this is awful. And you can't even chat like with Smash Brothers. You could chat in the lobby, but you couldn't chat during the game. And I'm like, but I want to tell my friends how much they suck when I'm whooping their ass. I don't want to try to remember what happened during the game and then try to tell them after. This is awful.
That's stupid. Oh my god, that's so dumb.
Yeah, so then like you were saying, you kind of like, you skipped SNES, you had 64. Do you remember any specific Genesis or TurboGrafx games that like brought any good memories back?
Definitely Splatterhouse on TurboGrafx. Like, that was the best game on there. I quickly got rid of it. I just got out of games and I was like more into music for a while. But I remember like Alex Kidd, like there was some, like Bonk was cool.
Right.
It was okay. It wasn't as good as but there were a lot of bad games that looked good on the TurboGrafx. And Genesis, it was like Altered Beast and Sonic. Like, I didn't have a Genesis for very long either. But I remember going to my friend's house and playing Night Trap, which like everyone's been crazy about lately. And it wasn't really a good game, but it was like, I don't know, like going through the sewers like back then and like killing the rats or whatever was kind of interesting, and then you're like getting to those cutscenes, those live action cutscenes, and they're just so stupid, like they're just so dumb, like it's like a train wreck, like you can't stop watching them, like it's like you want to see the next train wreck. It was just, I don't know.
Yeah, back then that was the funny thing is
like I want to go back and play that.
No, you don't.
So
you don't want to go back and play it. It's not good. No, but like back then, the funny thing too is like that was of course the hotness, the full motion video. You know what I mean? Like seeing actual video play in a game was like, of course PC had it, but like Sega CD was the cool thing. The funny thing too though is that if you look back, it was so tiny on the screen. Like it didn't even fill the whole screen. It was like some of those full motion video games were so.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's weird if you look back because some of them, like the video would play so small. But yeah, Night Trap was that fun game that made people lose their shit because you were pretending to kill teenage girls, and it's like you know, now you look back on it and that's barely like a teen rated game now, you know? It is.
Yeah.
It was really,
Yeah,
and again,
yeah.
that
It'd be like
game
for
was,
kids now. Like,
if you gave that to a 9-year-old, they wouldn't be
I
scared at
remember
all.
the guy coming through the window, and he's supposed to be scary. And he's just like, it's so comical. It's like a high school drama club like made the videos for that.
Yeah, and now they had that re-release that came out, and again, it's more of a novelty thing. It's just like, let's just put this on, and hopefully people will remember this game. But then, that's what I was saying, when you go back and play it, it's not going to be good. Like, you know that. You know you're going to go back and it's going to be bad.
Yeah. Yeah, like people were paying like hundreds of dollars for like pre-orders for special editions of Night Trap. I'm like, have you played Night Trap? And they're like, no. Like, none of the people have played Night Trap.
Yeah, it's just basically they're going off of nostalgia and memories. So then you were talking about how you played games, you did Genesis, you did TurboGrafx, but then you eventually fell out and did more music stuff?
Yeah, I was into guitar, playing guitar. So I just kind of dropped video games for a while.
Did you do it for school, or did you have like your own bands or anything, or do you just got into playing it for yourself?
Yeah, for myself, and I had bands, and then after high school, I joined the Coast Guard, so I didn't really play games on boats.
Right. Kind of difficult when you're out in a boat to do.
My roommate did have a PS1. I did play Medieval because my roommate had a PS1 on the boat, but I wasn't like into it. It was cool, but.
So then, what initially then? So after Coast Guard, after all this stuff, what got you back into gaming then? Like, was it just like a new console came out and got you right back in, or was it like just hearing about all the new stuff that was out?
I don't know. I got married and had a kid, and I was home a lot. So, and I don't know. I think I just saw a commercial on TV for like Mario Sunshine or something, and bought a GameCube. But it was just like I needed something to do at home, and I wasn't playing music, so.
Yeah, it's probably
I
the
thought
best.
that would be cool.
Yeah, it's pretty much the best.
And then I was
if you're a dad.
then I was like in over my head, and then I got like all 3 consoles and was crazy into video games again.
Yeah, when you're a dad and a parent and stuff, it's a safe habit because you're basically home, hanging out, just doing stuff.
Yeah.
In case wife needs you, in case your kids need you, you're just pretty much there and everything. So, yeah, I mean, I was kind of the same way. Like, I played games religiously. Like, that was my number one hobby up until Tony Hawk came out. And then I actually got into skateboarding to where I completely stopped playing video games. Like, I didn't, for like pretty much my whole high school, like PS2, Xbox, GameCube, I barely played games. It was just, I didn't have my own console. I was just more skateboarding every single day. My buddies would have a console, so like when the new Tony Hawk game would come out, that's all we would want to play. And then that was like it for years. And then I started working at a video game store with my brother-in-law, and that's what got me right back into it. I was just like full on like, holy shit, I missed a ton of stuff. So that's when I just went nuts, and same thing as you. Got one console and then ended up with all 3, and then just ended up going crazy with all that.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool you skate. I always wanted to skate. I tried to skate for a little bit, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's fun, but also you got to be prepared to, like, I don't know, get hurt a whole lot and just fall a whole lot. So
yeah, I think that's what it was. I wasn't prepared to like fall a lot, and that's when you skate, you just need to like fall over and over and over again.
Yeah, basically, you're just basically punishing yourself all day long.
Comedy. To do stand-up comedy, you just have to go bomb like a million times to get good at it. That's like skating. You just have to let go and know you're gonna get hurt, and then you get good at skating.
Exactly. Yeah, like, except for stand-up comedy, like, you're bombing in front of people, and that's like, I have so much respect for people that do stand-up because it's just such a different animal. Like, you're basically failing in front of people over and over and over and over again. And like, you know, if they're not your friends, like, you know, I would skateboard with my friends, and if I fell in front of them, who gives a shit, right? But
they're really mean, cynical comics who are there trying not to laugh at your jokes, and they don't like you because they want to be funnier than you.
Yeah, it's real fun.
So it's
at least
it's fun.
Yeah, it's real fun, right? At least in the skateboard community, there was a couple people that were kind of like dicks, you know, like they knew they were better than people at the park, so they would act like that. But for the most part, everybody, like when I was growing up skating, like they were pretty supportive. Like there was like a good person at the park that was really good, and he would be like, "Yeah, dude, that's cool. Try this," and you know, trying to help you learn the tricks and stuff. So I mean, some people were cool, and I'm sure the only thing that sucks is I'm sure in stand up, there's not a lot of people that are offering that kind of advice. They're more like, fuck you, I want to be funnier.
Yeah. No, there's not. The people that are offering that are usually people that have just like a little more time than you. But yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's pretty cutthroat, but there's a lot of cool people doing it. Like I was in LA doing it, so it was pretty cool. But there was like this group of 23-year-old guys. I don't know why they were all 23, but they were, and they were just like cynical assholes and were real cliquey, and that sucked.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And like they're not even good comics, but they act like they're the shit. You know, they weren't even funny. But
they had 100 Twitter followers. They made it. They were awesome, dude.
Yeah. That's what it was. Twitter gave them a big head.
Exactly. They said one funny thing, and one comedian retweeted it, and they're like, "I'm the funniest person ever." That's exactly how it happened.
And it was a dick joke. Yep, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Because Twitter makes people think they're awesome. So, no, that's whatever. Like, I don't get that. But yeah, I mean, well, at least sometimes like. I would say at least with video games, you of course get those aggro dudes that think they're awesome. You know, I'm so good at this game, bro. You can't even touch me. Like, it's funny because you see certain competitions. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen them, but like the scare. You know, when you see people play Halo or Counter-Strike or those types of games, for the most part, people are cool. You know, most people are respectful and stuff like that. When you see people playing in a Madden tournament, it is scary. They are so fucking like, fuck you, bro. Yeah. I'm so like, dude, why are you so mean right now? There's no reason to be.
Maybe because it doesn't take skill to play the game. So it's all luck. So they get mad because they don't understand.
Oh, dude, you just pissed off like so many people right now. I'm going to put your Twitter handle at the end of the credits, and they're just going to go and be like, Madden requires skill, you piece of shit. Like, you just pissed off so many people. No, it's just, I used to, when I worked at, Game Crazy, we ran tournaments. And like I said, for the most part, people were pretty respectful, but there was like a couple times where, it depends on the game, but like a couple times when people would get super out of line, like super dickheadish. And I'm like, dude, well, like, why are we doing this? So, but yeah, that was always fun. It's funny because I worked at Best Buy and I worked at Game Crazy and I helped run tournaments at both. And the only games that got really crazy were Madden. Madden was the only one that was crazy. And then, I ran one Call of Duty tournament where like, a person got crazy. And I'm like, all right, dude, you need to simmer down, chill the fuck out. Like, there's no need to get all pissed off like that.
The only time I've experienced it, like, lately is in Destiny. Like, people get mad, like, when you don't know how to do the raid, or people just start talking shit, or purposely, like, fucking up the raid.
Just to be an asshole.
Just to be an asshole. Because you have a group of, it's a group of 6, right? You have a group of 6 in the raid, so it's like, at least one person out of 6 is going to be a total ass.
Yeah, basically. I mean, that's at least, unless you know like a core group of people that you can always go to and be with, like, it's kind of like that. But also, if you're going to search games randomly with random people, you're always going to get that person that just wants to be a dick.
Yeah. Because you do have your core group, but you can't always play with, like, your core group. So, like, every person in your core group has a friends list with their friends who also play Destiny, so you'll end up like playing with one of them eventually, and then that's how you get to know all the really fun guys.
Yeah, those assholes. Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. Like the only game like lately, because some games don't require as much teamwork. Like, I mean, it depends on the game, I guess. Because some games, like the raids in Destiny, obviously those require a ton of teamwork and communication and stuff. Me and my buddies would play Rocket League, and it was a disaster. Like, we would try to communicate and try to play it right, but then one of us would fuck up, and then to the point where one of us would fuck up and the other 3 people playing would just light them up. Like, what the fuck? Why didn't you hit jump? What's wrong with you? Like, just like light them up. But then also too, I guess it depends on the game, because some games you can kind of get away with just doing things by yourself, but like team games like, you know, Rocket League, Overwatch is another one. Like,
yeah, I feel like Rocket League would be really hard, because Rocket League, like, shit happens so fast. In Rocket League, like, how do you even communicate? It would be really hard to like organize that, I would think. Yeah,
I mean, for the most part, I mean, the only problem is like, if you say you're going to play back and basically play goalie, you better know how to fucking do your job. Because if you mess up, like, we're just going to what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Like, and it always happened. But yeah, I mean, that was the, that game. And then like Overwatch is another one where it's, you know, you kind of want to, you know, do a certain thing teamwork wise, you know, but also that requires a lot more teamwork, because then you have to look at like who other people are playing as, you know, what role are you going to play in doing all this? So, I mean, there's games out there though that require that type of skill, and then some that who gives a shit.
Yeah.
So then now you're basically just doing it all, right? Do you have like pretty much all the consoles? Are you just basically playing everything now?
No, I had my girlfriend actually died from drug overdose like 4 months ago.
God, dude, I'm so sorry to hear that.
And I was in Washington, like heading to Florida during that weekend. So her friend texts me and says, "Come get your stuff," or her family's putting it in the dump. So, like, my Xbox and like basically like $8,000 worth of stuff was put into the dump. So I don't have an Xbox anymore.
Holy crap, dude.
And I know that's a really like crazy story to like tell you why I don't have an Xbox anymore. But
well, yeah, but I mean, holy crap, dude. Like that's, I mean, obviously it's shitty in more ways than one, but like, yeah, that's kind of a crazy story, dude.
Yeah, it's been rough, but I don't know.
Well, eventually,
I'm just like getting back.
Right. I mean, as long as, you know, it's obviously going to get better and everything, but yeah, dude, that's, I can't even imagine like that. And I mean, especially too, if you weren't there when it all happened, and then just a call like, "Hey, come get your crap, or we're going to chuck it in the trash." Like, geez, man.
Yeah. Yeah. That was shitty. I didn't know her family. Like, I hadn't been with her that long. But I do have a Switch.
So at least you
I have a DS.
At least you have something, though. Mm-hmm. And, you know, so have you been mostly? So in that, have you been playing mostly just Zelda and Zelda, or Mario Kart?
I played a lot of Zelda. I think I'm at 170 hours of Zelda.
Good lord.
Right now. And I just got Splatoon like a week ago, so I've been playing a lot of that. And I'm really looking forward to Samus Returns.
On
like, that's
3DS.
the game I'm really looking for. Yeah.
That comes out soon-ish, right? Like, doesn't it come out September something?
Yeah, the 15th.
15th?
Yeah, the 15th. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got a Switch when I traded in all my Wii U stuff, and I played Zelda, beat Zelda, but I wasn't one of those where I wanted to go and do everything, you know, like, just because I don't have as much time to play games, because like I'm working, I have a wife, 4 kids, like I have all this stuff going on, so like I try to play as much as I can, but I'm also gotten to the point where I would rather have a game be shorter so I can kind of get through it and feel like I did something. I feel like I beat the game. Like if somebody tells me, oh man, that game's like 10 hours long, I'm like, hell yeah, that's awesome. I'll get through this game in 10 hours. That's great. But no, with Zelda, I played Zelda, beat it, and I was like, that was an awesome game, but I don't think I'm going to go back and do all this. My son is the opposite. He has literally gone and done every single, like he's trying to do everything. He's trying to unlock all the do all the shrines, unlock all the costumes, unlock all the armors. Like he's doing everything. And he was the one who actually requested the DLC for it. He like spent his own money. He's like, I want to do all this. And, yeah, I played it and beat it. But then like after that, I got Mario Kart, which was cool. I got Splatoon because he wanted it. So he's been playing it, but like, I'm kind of just waiting for Mario. Like I want Mario Odyssey so damn bad because it looks so good.
Yeah. It looks really weird and really good. Like,
that's the good
really
stuff
different.
Though, when it gets
like
real
something
weird.
Oh yeah. Something, it just looks like something totally new. Like almost like as big as like a 3D Mario was for 64.
Right.
Like it's something like really different.
And that's the thing that like makes me want to play it so bad is because it harkens back to the Mario 64 and Sunshine days where like those are, and Galaxy for the most part too. Like Galaxy was cool, but like some people really, really like Galaxy. I thought it was cool, but I didn't think it was like incredible or like, you know, on the best. Like I still love Mario 64 just because at that time Mario 64 was so different, but it was so good too. Like you can still play the game and it's still fun. Yeah. But yeah, with Odyssey, it's funny because when they showed it off at first and they showed, you know, New Donk City and they showed the real people and I'm like, okay, like that's different and, you know, whatever. But then when they showed the E3 trailer,
I didn't like it.
Yeah, it was weird. I didn't necessarily didn't like it. I just didn't know what to think because that's really all they showed. Like they didn't show much else. And then when they showed the E3,
really stale, like non-animated mannequin-looking people, I'm like, this is bad.
Yeah.
Like this is like a watered-down GTA and Mario's in it. What are they doing? They suck. Right. But like now that I see like Cappy and you put the cap on stuff and like there's just weird stuff in the world. Like it's not supposed to be like a realistic version of New York City. Like I thought they were going for. It's like there's just weird stuff everywhere to do, and you can go like all over and find these little secrets and stuff.
Right, and that's the other, like I was saying earlier with like how all the secrets in the very first Mario game, how like I'm sure there's going to be crazy shit that's going to be in this game that's going to be just hidden things that all of a sudden people, the only problem is now we have the internet, so like if you go on like any message board or website, you're going to see top 5 secrets in Mario Odyssey, and you're like, fuck, I didn't want to hear them. I just want to find them for myself. But no, like it was the E3 trailer when they had the T-Rex there. And I'm like, okay, what's this game? And then they showed the hat, and I'm like, wait, what the hell is this about? And then when they started showing all of the shit that was going on, I was like, this is insane. This is so good. And then probably the thing that immediately just like blew my mind was the hieroglyphics that they did, where like it was in the Egypt looking stage. All of a sudden, he's inside, and it's like old school 2D Mario on like a hieroglyph, like on a wall running in I'm like, what did I just see right now? Yeah. That's crazy. And ever since then, that's like,
looks really cool.
I just want that so bad because again, it reminds me of that weird, you know, shit and even in like Mario 64, there was those like weird secrets of like, did you know you could hit the wall here and do this? I'm like, absolutely not. Like that's what I was hoping for, and you know, I'm glad to see they're not just making another new Super Mario Brothers game, because no, I don't want that shit anymore. I played it on Wii U, 3DS. No, I'm good. Go back to old school 3D Mario stuff.
Yeah, it gives them an excuse to make like all these different gameplay designs because you're going to be like controlling one of those, like, what are they called, the bullet bills.
Yes.
Like you're going to be controlling one of those, or another. Like you put the cap on, whatever you put the cap on, it's like a different gameplay mechanic. So you'll be controlling, you know, the dinosaur and doing this with the dinosaur. You'll have all these different. It's not going to be just like Mario jumping and doing like traditional stuff. It's going to be like all these different little mini games in there, kind of like how Zelda is, but to more of an extreme, I think.
Right.
Like in Zelda Breath of the Wild, you're walking around a big open world, but you go into, like, you'll do the Korok seeds, or you do the shrines, and in every shrine there's some kind of weird different puzzle, and like I feel like they're doing that with Mario too, in just a different way.
Yeah, like, and that's the most exciting thing about it, is that it's such a difference from, like, because even Galaxy didn't have, like, super new stuff. Like, the only thing that was different was you were running around, like, a 3D, like, or a circle planet, you know what I mean? There was no up or down, you know, you were running, and that was kind of the difference there. I mean, you know, did that type of stuff, but just, like, how you could turn into electricity to go down an electricity line from one building to another, how you turn into a bullet bill, like you were saying, like, all that stuff's just so different. And the T-Rex thing, like,
it's neat.
It's,
and everybody's raving about it.
Yeah, and no one said
like
anything negative.
All the game media is like crazy over it, right? No one said anything negative, except for they're worried that it's not going to work in a full, like, whatever 20-hour game or whatever. But that's the only gripe. Like, no one's, other than that, I haven't heard anything.
But also, too,
so,
I mean, the thing is, like, also, too, what they've shown you isn't everything. Like, you know there's shit in the game that's just, like, you won't see it and they won't talk about it until it's out. So, like, you know, I'm assuming it's not just like, you know, Bullet Bill's like the highlight of it. I'm assuming there's going to be stuff you're going to do that's, like,
there's going to
way
be
different.
Bigger, cooler shit. Yeah.
Absolutely. The T-Rex thing would have been cool, though. It's like a secret. Like, the T-Rex thing just threw me off, but it was a good way to show the trailer off, because I was like, cool, there's a dinosaur. We get some dinosaur game, and then Mario's hat's on top of him, and I was like, dude, what am I? That whole E3 conference was amazing. That was like the one that got me so excited when I wasn't as excited about any of that stuff.
I know, it's weird. It's weird that Nintendo's good again. I don't know what's happening. The world is changing.
They got their ass beat in with the Wii U, and they decided, oh man, we need to start doing things people want. So that, like, that same conference, like the Pokemon game getting announced for Switch, Metroid Prime 4 getting announced. Just, if you have a Switch, like,
that was a huge one for me, Metroid Prime 4. Like,
I bet a lot of people lost their complete minds. It finally felt like the conference Nintendo was listening on. Like, Nintendo heard, we want Pokemon on Switch, we want a new Metroid game, we want this, and this, and then Nintendo's just, all of a sudden, they were just like, okay, and like, all this shit, they just started throwing
Why do we have to tell Nintendo? Nintendo's just supposed to know.
No, but they're too busy making amiibos, bro. They want amiibos. That's what we want, bro. We want amiibos. We want to go on eBay and pay $500 for amiibos because Nintendo won't make 35 more for people. Like,
that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to become an action figure company. They're going to get out of games and just...
They were a toy company at first.
Amiibos.
They were a toy company at first. Then they turned into a game company. Now they're slowly going back. So that's basically as it goes now. That's what you're playing then. Like, you just been playing lately, just Zelda, Splatoon, that type of stuff.
Yeah, I finished Sonic Mania. That was really good. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of Splatoon, and I keep trying to go off of the roller, like, and try the other guns. Have you played Splatoon at all?
I haven't. Like, I feel bad too because, like, I don't want to say I dislike it because I haven't given it a fair shake either. Like, my son got it for Wii U and he liked it. Then we sold the Wii U like 4 months later to get the Switch, and then he was like hounding me as soon as Splatoon 2 came out. He's like, Dad, I want that game. So I got it, and I haven't played it yet, but it's funny because initially when I first saw it, I was thinking, like, this is stupid. I don't want to play this shit. But then, like, so many people said it was good, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's good. That's good to hear. So yeah, no, my son likes it. You know, he plays it and everything, but I just haven't given it a chance yet.
It's addicting. It's like 3 to 4 minute games, so really short games. And I don't know. It's really simple, but it's fun, and it's like it's a shooter on Nintendo. So, but like the roller, I just get so many kills with the roller. Like, I can't go back to the other weapons, like the other shooting weapons, because you can just take the roller like a steamroller and roll over people.
Yeah, I haven't I really want to give it a shot and everything. It's just lately, there's a lot been going on, so I haven't really gotten too much as far as games go. I'm also kind of right now, I've been kind of going through more of my backlog stuff, just trying to waiting until October. So like, cause October, that's when everything in the world comes out, like Shadow of War, Wolfenstein, Assassin's Creed, Mario. I just played the Call of Duty World War II beta, and I'm glad I played it because I don't give a shit about that game right now. I was hoping, because it looks so cool, I was hoping Call of Duty would be awesome again. You know, I was hoping like, man, I'll get back into this because now it's not trying to copy Titanfall, and now it's doing this. So, you know, otherwise though, I got enough stuff to play. I'm sure Mario will give me enough time, so.
Yeah, I was watching a guy on YouTube in the Call of Duty World War II beta, and he was saying the hitboxes were off. Did you notice that at all?
Yeah, dude,
with the hitboxes.
It's not. It's just, yeah. You would think you kill somebody, and then it's always. I hate when a game just doesn't feel fair. Like when you play, and it's not even a matter of like, you know, like there's certain games where you just suck, but you understand why you suck. You know what I mean? Like then there's games that you die and you're like, how? Like what? How did this happen?
Yeah. So that's what I got from it. From what I watched, it was like a lot of like frustrating, unfair deaths.
Yeah, so, I mean, overall, though, like, I'll just keep playing the other shooters. Battlefield 1's still fun, so I'll just keep playing that and everything. So, if people wanted to play any Splatoon or Nintendo games with you, what is your Nintendo... Well, I guess I'll link the Nintendo friend code, because they still do that shit, right?
Yeah. You want my friend code? Okay. I can read it to you.
Well, yeah, no, you're fine. Just go ahead. I'll just put it in the show notes for people in case they want to play some stuff with you, because it'll probably be easier that way. All right. Well, I guess my daughter is tired of hanging out in the other room, so that's time for me to go. Dude, thank you so much for being on the show. I really do appreciate you sharing all your stories with me.
Thanks for having me. It's a good time. Thank you.
All right. Thanks again, Rob, for being on the show. Again, if you guys want to be on the show just like he was, go ahead and send me a tweet at GUG Podcast on Twitter, or go ahead and send me a tweet personally at MitchPower1116. Also in the show notes, I will have links to all of Rob's stuff, including his friend code, so you can play some Splatoon 2 with him. And again, thank you guys so much for listening each and every week. Again, subscribe on iTunes and Google Play. Leave us a review. Follow us on Twitter. Share it with a friend. Or do none of the above. Either way, it's cool. No big deal. Again, we'll be back next week with another episode of the show, and I'll catch you guys then.